All right, the Crew Motor Fest. I don't have a ton of hypercars. I have a good amount. All right, but as of right now, since these are all usually like 2 million a pop, I'm doing what I can, and I figure we're like a little over a month in, like 5-6 weeks in. So I figured I'll do a top 5 that I've found for now. Once I buy and test and tune more cars, I will update this. But I figure for now, a good solid top 5 feels pretty good. Keep in mind, this is what I have. I haven't tested all the cars. I don't own all the cars. I haven't done pro settings for all the cars. So out of what I have, this is what we're going with. All right. I know there's some fast cars that I don't have yet. I've raced some hypercars that I don't have that seem to be really quick. Just haven't. It takes a while to grind money. All right. So look, I would say honorable mentions. I'll give you like 2 or 3 honorable mentions before we get into top 5. All right. The Citroen GT with my tune, the acceleration is insane and it gets up to 310 mile an hour. All right. That's pretty wild. Another honorable mention, which is one of my personal favorites, is this 458 Speciale. It's very light. It can be a little bit hard to master, but once you get this thing down, you can smoke 110 no problem. It's a fun car to drive. It's a little wild, but it's pretty fun. Okay, I tuned this, but I haven't actually tested it yet, but I think the Veneno is probably pretty quick. I would say another honorable mention is a 765 LT. It's pretty good, but it's just not there. Same with the Huera. It's highest top speed of 312. All right, but it's just the handling's not there, and it just spins like crazy up until like 150 mile an hour, and it's just it's not good. But look, let's get into top 5. This brand new 2021. Well, it's not brand new anymore, but it's pretty damn new. All right, new Countach LPI 804. Not only does this thing sound amazing in this game, it performs so well. I've tuned it up. It's one of my favorites. I personally love driving this thing. You can easily win grand races, no problem. And in this top 5, I'm not going to actually show racing because it's going to take a while to go over all the pro settings and all the cars. But I will link the videos down below where I go over pros and cons of each vehicle, pro settings, and then a grand race to show you. So those all will be in the description along with all the playlists, because it's already going to be lengthy going over 5 cars. But this is one of my personal favorites. It's not quite the fastest. It's not Revuelto level fast, but it's damn good. All right. So anyway, pro settings. Power distribution 45% front. All right. Look at the acceleration 2.0. Okay. If we go back to stock, 2.5. Big improvement. Get you off the line faster. Doesn't affect top end. All right. Brake balance 50% front. Suspension springs front 6% stiff. Rear is 4% stiff. Damper compression front 8% stiff. Right. The rear is a 6% stiff. Damper rebound front 5% stiff in the front and rear. Okay. Anti-roll bars maxed out 10% stiff up front with a 7% stiff in the rear, and camber is a -25 up front with a -20 in the rear. This thing's good. Really solid car. Corners well. It's great. It's great. I could probably tune it up a little more, squeeze a little bit more juice out of it. I know if you're full throttle coming out of corners, it will slide a little bit. I could definitely tune that out. This is one of the first cars that I tuned. It's not bad. It could improve if you want to mess with it, but it's solid where it is. I know this car is expensive. I recently put up a shorts and its own standalone video. This thing launches so hard. It's at a 1.8 second 0 to 60. I think I started like 22nd, 23rd, and with a little bit of NOS, I got up to third like 6 seconds into the race. Like, it blew past everybody. It's wild how quick this thing gets off the line, and it handles pretty well, and it's pretty damn competitive. I really like this thing. I think a lot of people just don't realize la voiture noir, however you say it. But look, pro settings. All right, 45% front power distribution. All right, so if you look, we're at 1.8. We take it back to stock 2.3. So again, we gained half a second, which is huge. All right, brake balance 50% front. Now this this car, the brakes were very underpowered, and bumping it to a 50% makes it feel a lot better. All right, trust me on this one. Okay, so we changed the load front, -7. All right, on the Aero. Suspension springs, full 10% stiff up front with a rear -3 soft. Damper compression front, 16% stiff with a -6 soft in the rear. Damper rebound front is a full 20% stiff, 8% stiff on the rear. Roll bars maxed out 10% stiff up front with a -5 soft in the rear. Camber up front is a -25 with a -20 in the rear. All right. Usually when you max out stiff on not all cars, but most cars, you go full stiff. The further you go stiff on the front, the better it turns in, depending on a few variables. Some cars are different, but for the most part, that's usually how it goes. So I couldn't get this thing to turn in any better than it already did. All right. Number 3 is the Jesko, the Koenigsegg Jesko. This thing is just an absolute monster. It doesn't get off the line fast because it's not all-wheel drive, but it accelerates like 200 to 300 super fast, no problem. It holds its speeds through the corner. I know this car is a little wild. It's very slippery. It wants to slide out. My tune on this makes it very grippy compared to stock, and I've had a lot of people tell me that this tune is the best compared to other content creators. Like, it doesn't even come close to theirs. This is just the way to go. So I pride myself on that. I spent a lot of time on this car. I think it feels really good. Anyway, pro settings. All right, brake balance 50%, improves the braking power immensely. It's a big improvement. All right, 17.3. All right, if we go back to stock, 18.8. Okay, that's a big improvement, and you'll notice if you've driven this without changing the brake balance and then you drive it with this, you'll notice you're stopping a lot faster. Okay, Aero, -20 load on the front. Okay, we had to get that rear planted. Suspension springs 6% stiff up front, -9 soft in the rear. Damper compression front is a 6% stiff with a -6 soft in the rear. Damper rebound front 11% stiff, -20 soft in the rear. Roll bars 9% stiff up front, -5 soft in the rear. And the camber -25 up front with a -18 in the rear. I tuned this for a while. I tested, I sat on it, tested, tweaked it, had some people in the Discord try it. Everybody says that this tune's very, very good. So the video came out yesterday, I believe, which by the time this comes out is probably a couple days, but it's a good one. The Jesko is definitely worth the money. It's an insanely quick, fast cornering car. All right, number 2 is the Lamborghini Revuelto. All right, it's new to the Crew Motorfest. It might have been the Crew 2. I don't know. I don't think it was. I think this was the newer car, but holy shit, this thing is fast. I've had it for a while. I put a tune out on this like 3 weeks ago. Very fast, and this tune makes it corner so it's just chef's kiss on this one. All right, I tuned it. I nailed it. And it's a lot of people drive are like, oh, it doesn't need anything to try my tune. They're like, holy shit, dude. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's wild. So anyway, this thing is if I want to try hard, I usually pick this car because it's wild how good it is. So anyway, look, pro settings for this. Okay, same thing. Look at our acceleration, 1.8. Okay, if we go back to stock, 2.3. Again, half a second. Okay, I've seen some content creators go like 20% power to the front, 80% to the rear, and I'm like, you don't gain anything up top. I've done a ton of testing. You don't gain any acceleration up top, and you're just making it oversteer more, and you're losing a good launch. So this thing will get you out from the pack real quick with this 40% front. All right, I'm telling you. Same with the brake balance, 55% front. Okay, improve the braking just a little bit. Aero, I just tuned it down just a hair. All right, -2 on the front and the rear. Suspension, all right, 7% stiff on the springs up front with a 4% stiff on the rear. Damper compression is 5% stiff front and rear. Damper rebound front is 10% stiff, 6% stiff in the rear. Roll bars, max 10% stiff up front with a 5% stiff in the rear. And camber is a -25 up front with a -20 in the rear. This is probably, besides the Countach, this is my other personal favorite. This thing, it just, you can't beat how it handles with this tune. I love the Countach, but this thing destroys it. Absolutely destroys it. This thing is so fast. And you probably guessed it. Number one, all right? You already know what it is. I don't have to say anything. I thought, you know, obviously us dirty Americans, Cento Daisy, that's how we'd say it. But actually, I looked it up because I was like, it's what, French, Italian, whatever flag that is. They say Cento, the Cento Daisy, all right? Throw an H in there for whatever reason. But you can't beat this thing. It's so fast, great top speed, it corners well. This thing is a monster. It's a monster. I mean, there's no other way to put it. This thing is so fast. It's so good. But anyway, look, my pro settings for this, okay? As you can see, acceleration is 1.7 seconds, which is absolutely wild. So if you look, we're at 45% front, okay? 1.7. Take it back to stock, 2.2. So again, we gained half a second. 1.7. The closest one I think was what was the Revuelto at? I don't think it was that good, right? Revuelto is 1.8. Okay, the La Aventura Noir or whatever is 1.8, and this bad boy is a 1.7 with my tunes. Okay, which is just it's insane. It's quick. This with sport traction control, wild how quick it gets off the line. You are gone. Brake balance, it didn't improve. It did not improve. Okay, so we left it at 60%. Didn't have to touch the aero. Suspension, all right, springs up front 9% stiff, rear 3% stiff. Damper compression front is 13% stiff with a -2 soft in the rear. Damper rebound front 19% stiff with the rear being a +5 stiff. Roll bars 9% stiff up front, 4% stiff on the rear. And the camber -25 up front with a -15 in the rear. Man. All right, so like I said, that's my top 5 for now. I'll link all the videos down below if you want to see them in action. Obviously, again, I haven't tested all the hypercars, so as of right now, this is my top 5. If, you know, I find something else that's faster, I'll squeeze more in there, do like a top 10 in another month and see if I can find anything that beats this. But for now, this is what we got. You boys know the drill. Subscribes. Come back, right? We got a ton of tunes, pro settings, 70, 80. We're going to do them all. All right. You boys know the drill. See you on the next one.